Almost a year after Hamas terrorists broke into Israel, slaughtered a lot of people, took a lot of hostages, the U.S. Department of Justice is finally doing something about it. They issued an indictment. It's a big nothing. Probably nothing going to happen as a result. Here's a wild one. The United States Department of Justice just did something that I never, ever saw coming, which is they have announced terrorism charges against the senior leaders of Hamas for the October 7th massacre. Merrick Garland made the presentation, and he said he's announcing charges against Yahya Sinwar and the other Hamas leaders that oversaw the campaign of murder, including of American citizens. Here's the quote. On October 7th, Hamas terrorists led by these defendants murdered nearly 1,200 people, including over 40 Americans, and kidnapped hundreds of civilians. This weekend, we learned that Hamas murdered an additional 6 people they had kidnapped and held captive for nearly a year, including Hersh Goldberg Poland, a 23-year-old Israeli American. These charges unsealed today are just one part of an effort to target every aspect of Hamas's operations. These actions will not be our last. Then he lists all the other people that have been indicted, some of whom are already killed by Israel. Does this mean anything, or is it just kind of, well, it feels good that the Justice Department weighs in on the horrific crimes nearly a year after they occurred?
Well, that's the point I would make, Barry. I mean, where was Attorney General Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice on October the 8th? Or really any time before that, when leadership of Hamas were lobbing rockets and missiles and attacks against Israel and the Israeli people,
as they are today,
as they continue to do today. But as you point out, at least a couple of these, including Mohammed Deif and Ismail Haniyeh in particular, have already been dispatched to their virgins by the forces of Israel. Not acknowledged necessarily, but that is expected, who took care of these. I would suspect that those on this list have a lot more to worry about from the Mossad than they do from the United States Department of Justice.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those feel-good things, like an empty proclamation with no teeth, because the United States military is not going to go get them. They're not going to be extradited. If we really wanted to do something, we could go to Qatar and round up the rest of the billionaires that are running Hamas from their luxury penthouses and flying in private jets. But we're not going to. There's a lot that could be done, a lot that should have been done. And this is an empty proclamation.
Well, or also move our great big Air Force base in Qatar, the Al Udeid Air Force Base, and take it out of Qatar and put it someplace else, like, I don't know, maybe Saudi Arabia.
There you go. And the loss of revenue would be tremendous, and Qatar would be undefended. But then we would lose access to their oil.